but also the men who have chosen to drink from the well of themselves and begin again. Guys, your story is filled with broken pieces and a major comeback that tried to keep you down. And here's what's happening. Many guys try to get back to baseline, like, oh, I want to be back to when I was this guy. I want to be back to this weight. I want to be back to making this money. I want to be back to this. When it's like, whoa. Isn't that a pitfall? Because when you were that guy, it ended you up here.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today, I'm here hoping to be able to interview Joey Wilder. He is the creator, inventor, founder, you name it.
We have Joey Wilder, first time coming on the show.
But at that moment, I had a choice to make. I either hit this while it's hot, while people are hyped up about it, or kind of let it simmer out. And I've been told by many great mentors, I want you to pause for a second and answer for yourself. What did I learn from my last relationship? I resent the idea that I love too much. I accept the idea that I can love the wrong person. I resent the idea that someone cannot love me. I accept the idea that they cannot love me in the way that I desire. And that's okay. Because truth be told, people will resent the things that they may have loved about you in the end. Sometimes that's just the way the dichotomy comes. And guys, just so I address this is cupping, okay? When you can be honest with yourself about what you learned from your last relationship, that's when you can begin healing. That's the first big pitfall. Find the lessons in what was. Because you're never losing, you're actually learning. Because the biggest pitfalls that destroy entrepreneurial relationships is really just, let's be honest, business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, executives, guys that are on their path, regardless, even if they're hustling. Like, I have so much respect for any man that gets up and does what he needs to do to provide for himself and get himself to where he wants to be. But let's just be honest. All of that is demanding. And although it's exhilarating and full of challenges, and then you add a relationship into the mix and the stakes get even higher. And that same drive and ambition that fuel your success in all of these other areas can also add stress. It can add miscommunication, and it can add imbalance in a relationship. I mean, I know for myself, like, when I am stressed, it is very difficult for me to be fully me in my relationship. And it's not to say that I won't share the things that I'm stressed about. However, stress affects me in a big way, because if I'm truly stressed about something, it's a big deal. You know, I don't stress the small stuff. And if I do let something get to me, it's usually something that's fairly important. But I also recognize when that's present, I may have to ask for space from my partner for a bit, just so I can process my stuff. Otherwise, I'm not going to be very fun to be around. Because many marriages that involve entrepreneurs and business owners and high achievers falter not because of lack of love, but because of these avoidable pitfalls that arise from really just juggling both personal and professional responsibilities. And understanding these challenges will not only let you take proactive steps, but it'll let you protect the relationship that you're building and make it a source of strength instead of a source of loss and a pitfall that is just adding negative nuance to your day. You guys know what I'm saying? Because realistically, guys, I was sharing this with a friend the other day, and then I was sharing it with Bree. We were talking about wants and needs, and I said, I believe every man shares one need. She said, really, what's that? And I said, I'm sure there's many others. And she was like, sex. And I was like, no, good guess. I'm sure that's one also. But it's the need for peace. No man wants to come home and tame a proverbial bull. No one wants to come home and navigate that, and you're allowed to have your big emotions. However, all I hear when I have, and I'm not throwing shade here, if you're a lot to handle, cool, you're a lot to handle for someone that is not me and not any of my guys. Because when I hear someone's a lot to handle, and I've heard men say this, oh, I'm a lot to handle. You sure you can handle this? And like, not in a sexual way, guys, miss me with the bullshit. But when I hear a woman or a man say that, what I actually hear is, I repel good men and good women, and I'm an energy suck, and I suck to be around. Let's just be honest. Some of those people aren't great to be around. I've actually told someone to their face, I don't like being around you right now, so I'm going to leave. It's like, I'm just transparent, not in a rude way. I would not be rude to someone. But if you are difficult to be around, let's say you're stressed from work. Yeah, the energy vampires. I've turned to my partner before and said like, hey, I'm noticing that you are incredibly negative around this time each day, and it's really difficult for me to be present with you. So would it be helpful if I came an hour later and gave you some time to process this, and then I'll support you in the way that I can? And I was able to polarize like, yo, kind of suck, not fun. Not that someone needs to always be fun, but if someone is an energy vampire and they're taking away from your autonomy, well, man, what are you really gaining in this? Because ideally, juggling personal and professional is difficult enough. But what I want to do is dive into number one, which the first thing that you need to avoid is blurred boundaries between work and home. One of the most common challenges I've seen in thousands of high achieving married men that I have worked with is that they face this inability to separate work from personal life. The always on mentality of running a business often means that work conversations creep into dinner time, weekends, and even on vacations. And over time, this lack of boundaries can actually erode emotional intimacy and leave both of you feeling disconnected. I've been there. I've been there before. I remember, and I'm not going to share names, but I remember someone that was very prominent in my life at one point and never will be again. Loved me for my ambition, or I guess appreciated me, liked me, loved me for my ambition and the things that I had done. They were cool things. When I was 24 years old, people thought being on ESPN was cool. I honestly have always just thought it was a thing. In that, I've witnessed that many times when we have this shiny object syndrome towards someone, we almost start to create a character of who they are. It's not actually who they are. I call this character idealization. Now, what we're actually doing is we are holding them to the standard of that character that we've created. And they don't know this because we just think they're great and they're perfect and they're everything we have always wanted. You complete me. You're my world. This is my better half. What that says to me is I am incomplete. I need this person to complete me. I see this shiny object. But here's what happens. You don't actually know that person. You know the idea you've created of them in your mind. So much that when they step out of that character you've created, they're wrong and they're the enemy now, and you get cold real fast because you don't know who they are, because you actually created a character and now that character's dead because they did the thing that that character in your mind would never do. Super J-Lo would never do that. He would never put baby in the corner. He would never do that. But guys, here's how you avoid it. Here's how you avoid putting someone in this box. Like, one, take people at face value. Take people at face value. Like, just let things come as they come. Be present in the moment. Stop trying to figure everyone out. The thing with awareness, guys, is it a gift or is it a curse to feel things so deeply? Because the other side of that is, man, you'll try to believe and convince yourself that you can sort out everyone's emotions and you know exactly what they're feeling. Guys, just don't. Take everyone at face value. I can guarantee you will be much, much happier. Because then you're not having these preconceived expectations that are unmet that lead to this blow up because you just don't know how to say, I made this preconceived expectation and I'm embarrassed. But guys, when it comes to like avoiding the blurred lines and boundaries at home, like create work-free zones. I literally have my bedroom here at the house. It is a work-free zone, TV-free zone. Does not matter what day it is. We hold these standards because this creates space for personal connection without interference of business discussions. Because you don't need to vent all your business stuff to your wives or your girlfriends. Here's the next step in this. You can set some clear work hours. Like even if you work from home, like you're preaching to the choir here, establish defined work hours and stick to them and communicate with your partner when you are off the clock and fully available. And here's why it matters. Boundaries ensure that your relationship has a space to breathe. And it actually allows you to nurture that connection without the constant business interference. If you're not in a relationship right now, the same thing can be said for you, the relationship with yourself. If you can't spend time with yourself productively, if you always have to be aimlessly working or doing something, you are running away from something that you are struggling to accept. Now, here's number 2. There's unbalanced roles and expectations. When entrepreneurs are in marriages, one partner usually feels like they're carrying more weight than the other. Now, whether it's in business or at home or emotionally, this imbalance actually just creates resentment, especially if roles and expectations are unclear or assumed instead of discussed. Remember last training, I had mentioned assume. Shout out Mr. Hadley. Mr. Hadley. Tyler is on here and we went to middle school and high school together. Maybe he remembers Mr. Hadley. Mr. Hadley, I asked him to go to the bathroom and he said, I don't know, can you? Man, I was going to pee on the floor. And he said, you asked, may you? Because when you say assume, you make an ass of you and me. So guys, we don't assume. I don't want to make an ass of you and an ass of me. I don't want to get our donkey on. But when you assume, guys, it literally leads to these unmet expectations that were never mentioned and never spoken about. And guys, I know that the ladies think you're mind readers, and I'm going to be honest with them. They're not. They're not. And also, gentlemen, neither is she. Just because you're stomping around doesn't mean she knows that you're mad. I mean, she sees that you're mad. She doesn't know why. Okay, sometimes these unbalanced roles, these unbalanced expectations and unmet expectations, we have to lean in and close the loop on those. You have to take responsibility in the areas that you did not show up. You have to. That is what leads you out of guilt and shame and continuing to blame all these nonsensical things. I had a guy get in on an onboarding once, and he blamed CrossFit for the reason his wife was leaving him. And we all know this guy. He's great. He's great. He's a little odd sometimes, but he's great. He's great. And man, I looked at him and I said, well, brother, if you went to CrossFit, this probably wouldn't be a problem, right? And he's not. He's gotten in much better shape now. But what I meant it as is, man, if you actually spent time with your wife, maybe you wouldn't be here. Because that's really what she was seeking, spending time together. And so instead, she created her own hobby, something that's just hers, something that's individual. But realistically, here's how you avoid having these unbalanced roles and these unmet expectations. Have open conversations. Discuss who's responsible for what, both in the business and at home. And the thing is, these roles can evolve as time goes on, but make sure that they feel fair and aligned with your partner's strengths. If they don't know how to paint and stucco, don't have them paint and stuccoing the house. Acknowledge invisible efforts. Some of you are probably thinking like, what? What invisible efforts? I can hardly see her efforts. You're telling me there's invisible ones too? Oh God, where's my Bible? Just go repent. Just go to Corinthians. You'll be fine. I'm talking about the emotional labor, the caregiving, the behind the scenes work. It all goes unnoticed. Make an effort to recognize and appreciate some of those smaller contributions, even if they are not directly tied to revenue or results. Those invisible efforts show that you are present, you're listening, you're there, they're not alone. Because here's why it matters. Clarity and fairness in roles reduce friction and they foster mutual respect, ensuring that both of you feel valued and supported. And here are the final two for you. Number 3, you're probably neglecting emotional connection. Now, business owners, high achievers, and entrepreneurs are often so focused on achieving their goals that they neglect the emotional needs of their spouse. And over time, this lack of connection can lead to them feeling isolated, distant, and this happens even in the strongest relationships. But guys, pause for a moment and recognize that right here, right now, you are on the other side of the last set of goals that you said you would be happy when you accomplish them. Yet here you are setting a new set of goals, telling yourself that you'll be happy when you get on the other side of them. It's ever fleeting. I'm not saying don't have goals and don't set goals, but what I am saying is nurture your relationship just as much as you nurture your business. Guys, some of you are showing up 100% in your business and like 2% in your relationship and 2% for you. And it shows. Is when you neglect emotional connection, like it just creates a bigger dumpster fire. But here's how you avoid it is create check-ins. Like similar to how I did. Like check in compassionately and genuinely care and listen. And this next one, learn how to active listen. Let people finish speaking. And then ask them, are you looking for feedback or are you looking for an echo chamber? And show small acts of affection, small gestures, a note of appreciation, a hug, making their favorite coffee. And this last one of the biggest pitfalls is you let stress take over. Guys, being a business owner and an entrepreneur comes with highs and lows. And the stress of running a business can easily spill into your personal life. And when it's not managed, stress leads to you being irritable, it leads to miscommunication, and it even leads to conflict, all of which puts your relationship at risk. Now, here's how you avoid it. Go talk to someone. I mean that. If you're feeling that irritable feeling, and you feel like you're consistently that way, go talk to someone. I mean that. Get it all out. Guys, I look at therapy in this way. You know how like when you talk to people, you have to ask them, but how are you? You know, formality. When you go to a therapist, I don't have to fucking ask them at the end how they are. I can just share all my stuff. Bye. I'm not saying to be rude, but you guys get what I'm saying. You can get all your stuff out instead of throwing proverbial javelins at your partner because you just need some stress management strategies. And learn to communicate when you're stressed. Let your partner know when you're feeling overwhelmed and share how they can support you. This really mitigates any form of misinterpretation, and it actually allows you to build trust. And this final step, don't bottle it up. Don't bottle it up. Don't just keep it inside. If the stress feels unmanageable, seek support from a therapist or a coach. When you proactively address this stress, it ensures this doesn't become a reoccurring issue, which then becomes a pattern and habit that you've adapted and conditioned into your relationship. And here's why it matters. Managing stress keeps you grounded and really prevents it from negatively impacting your relationships, and also shows your partner that they are a priority, even during the challenging times. Because here's the bottom line. Married entrepreneurs and business owners are uniquely challenging, but also incredibly rewarding when approached with intention. When you address these common pitfalls and you have healthy awareness around the blurred boundaries, the unbalanced roles, the neglecting of emotional connection, and the unmanaged stress, you can protect your relationship and create a foundation that supports both love and success. Remember, your marriage is one of your greatest assets, and when you invest time and effort into nurturing it, and the same can be said for your relationship, is you cannot tell me I'm wrong. When things are going well in your relationship, you're crushing it in all areas. It creates this yin and yang ecosystem. Now, here's the final thought. The demands of being a business owner and entrepreneurship do not have to come at the expense of your relationship. When you learn to set boundaries and you communicate openly, you can support each other through life's challenges. When you do this, you will build a marriage and relationship that grows alongside your business. And with the right strategies, you and your partner can create a partnership that thrives in both love and ambition. And if you need support, check the link below. It's $1 for 14 days. It'll be the best 14 days of your life.